Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. How is everybody doing? It is Wednesday, June 30th. It is the last day of the month. It has been a month. Oh my God, it has been a month here in Toronto. Now, I'm located in Toronto. The weather is warm, it is hot, it is humid. How are you guys doing? Tell me where you are tuning in from, because we want to know. We want to know. We want to know. I want to get to know you as you get to know us. So tonight, the show is going to be lit, lit, lit. And I am excited. Of course, we can't start a show without a little bit of jazz, a little bit of Caribbean jazz from the band Calabash. I'm telling you, you better get that album because they are my favorite band. And, I thank Tony Pierre and the band and Darren Shepherd for letting me play this song. I don't have rights to this song, but I have the right to play it. It's so exciting. This one is called From Whence We Came. I should start, switching it up a bit and letting you hear some of the other songs. So get comfy, get your drink, get your notepad because the wisdom keys are going to drop tonight. So, folks, welcome to the Victory Speaks Inspired Conversation series. And I am your host, Nicole Waldron, your voice of victory and your mental fitness coach. And I'm on a mission to inspire you to live a life of victory, a victorious lifestyle. Now, I've had a lot of conversations in my life, and I thought, you know what? Sharing is caring. And I wanted to start sharing some of these great conversations. And so tonight, I want to go into like a part two of a conversation I had earlier this month, but this is going to be with a different group of men. We were talking to fathers, Black fathers, because we need to change the narrative. For far too long, there have been so many false and negative stereotypes about fathers and Black fathers that have seeped into society, and we need to let people know we have amazing men who are operating in their calling and in the various aspects of their lives, and they're being dads. So, I want to introduce you to my two guests tonight. They are the Barrocks Brothers. And first up, in alphabetical order, because, we don't want to do any pecking order here, Sheldon Barrocks is an award-winning supply chain professional who has provided strategic solutions for major brands, including Mars Inc., Kellogg's, General Mills, Conagra, B&G Foods, Sunlight, Dole, Clover Leaf, Goodyear Tires, and Bridgestone Tires. And, that's just some of it. He has written several articles on personal career development and advancement and recently published his first book, Unstuck Mondays, a guide to growing in your creativity and career. It covers topics such as how to be creative in a traditional, non-creative role, why emotional intelligence is an effective soft skill to possess, and how to prepare for your next level opportunity, and so much more. And coming up right next to him is his brother Tristan Barrocks. And since launching in 2010, Tristan has been internationally recognized as a documentary filmmaker and cinematographer with a focus on digital storytelling. He has produced films for distinguished organizations like the Canadian Cancer Society, Elevation Church, and the Peel District School Board, as well as worked with internationally recognized brands like Apple and Foresight Group. He was awarded the New Emerging Artist Award and Best Music Video Director at several independent film festivals. His expertise in having a unique and authentic storytelling approach has also opened up amazing opportunities to work with brands like Muna Luci Bride, which has led him to produce projects in South Africa, Jamaica, St. Lucia, Bermuda, and across the United States. Tristan continues to develop creative ideas through his company with a desire to tell some of the most important stories in society today. And he focuses on preserving his client's voice while making genuine connections in his secret sauce. I wonder what's that secret sauce. And I can't wait. Okay, folks, you got to give them their emojis. You got to give them their love because I'm going to bring up these two gentlemen tonight, Tristan Barrocks and Sheldon Barrocks. And here you go. Hey, Tristan and Sheldon. Hey, yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome. Exciting, exciting. Okay, let me behave myself because I just love the applause part. I feel like I have hit again the lotto. This is almost better than the lotto, the lotto max 50 million that's coming up. Totally. So, Sheldon, how you doing tonight? Oh, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Hold on a minute. Okay, let's make this happen here. Let's do this again. All right. So, Sheldon, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Nicole. I actually had a really good day today. Today was a fabulous day, so I'm in a really good mood.
All right. And Mr. Tristan, how about you?
I am doing really, really well. Thank you for asking. I'm on my way to Ottawa for
Woo!
the long weekend. Really excited about just spending some time with family we haven't seen for 15 months. So it's awesome. I'm doing the parenting with my beautiful wife, and we're excited to kind of have this conversation.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. And the fact that you were willing to do it on your way to Ottawa, I'm giving kudos to the family. Kudos to the family. And I know they're gonna be really good. So we're gonna be really good here.
Yes.
So I want to get into a little bit about who you are and what you do before we get into the fatherhood thing. So, Sheldon,
Mhm.
you are an author and creative strategist. What the heck is a creative strategist?
That's a good question. I mean, it can really be defined in any different ways. As a professional, I'm a strategic operations manager. I work for Mars Inc., which is probably one of the biggest companies globally, and I have to develop strategies for them to pretty much save money. And my prior work, I worked with companies like Kellogg's and General Mills, Conagra, a lot of large food companies, and really, truly, I had to strategically help them save money too. So that's just from my professional side, but also in my author and writing side, I write a lot about, career development, creative strategies for your career or for your business, or even just on a personal note. I encourage people to get creative and have a creative outlet for themselves on top of either their business or their work, and just something where they can give themselves to, whether it's writing, painting, photography, filmmaking like my brother does, creative outlets. I encourage a lot of people to stir up their creativity in a lot of ways and not just pigeonhole yourself into, well, I'm this and I'm this. So I never like to say, I'm a writer or I'm an author or, I'm a purchaser for a large company. I like to say creative strategist because I pretty much solve problems in a grander scale, whether it comes to my professional work or my personal work.
Wow, I love that. I need a creative strategist in my life. I'm just saying, hint, hint.
Hey,
Hint, 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 hint. And that book, I know I have to get that book now. I know I have, because when you start talking about emotional intelligence, that is something that so many people do not talk about. And it is so, so necessary. Well,
yeah.
Tristan, you have the best title ever, the digital storyteller. When I grow up, I'm just saying, how can I become a digital storyteller? What is a digital storyteller?
Well, before I jump into that, I just have to say, y'all, that's my brother. Okay, that's my brother right there. Okay, I'm so proud of him. I love the Barracks brand. I don't care. I'm a shout it off the rooftops. I love being a part of the Barracks family, and I have some incredible people that have grown up with me from day one. And Sheldon Barracks right over here is my one of my day one homies, and I'm just so proud of what he's become and all the things he's doing. If you haven't checked out his book, Unstuck Mondays, you're crazy, you're out of this world. And if you take my
Woo!
email right now, info@tristanbarracks.com, I got some copies. If you're interested, just all you have to do is just drop me a line, probably sign up to my mailing list, and you'll get a free copy of this amazing book that I believe will really change and impact your life. So come on, do it. It's a free book. It's something that's going to empower you. Anyways, I'm
Okay,
Tristan
wait,
Barracks.
wait,
I'm the
wait. I'm
digital.
signing. I'm signing up. I'm signing up today. I need my copy, but I want it autographed. I selfish, I want more. I want a
It
lot.
is they are autographed actually. They are
Yep.
autographed
I
Ooh,
by
did
the
sign
author.
them.
Yes, they are
Yeah.
signed. Every copy is signed because I believe in that, and I believe in supporting, and I wanted to get as many books into people's hands that maybe don't have the resources or the opportunity to pick up one. So I bought a whole bunch of copies because I just believe in the project. I love my brother. I love what he's doing. I think he's a tremendous talent, an author, an untapped resource, and it's time for people to know about it. So if you want a copy, DM your boy, hit your boy up. I'll let you know exactly how to do it. That's easy work. That's easy work. Okay.
See. This is. I'll tell anybody this. If you want a hype man, this is your. This is the get to know my brother. If you want a hype man, because honestly, he'll support anyone to death, whether it's family, friends, or as long as you're doing something that's creative and you're your profession, you're pushing wellness. He's gonna support you. So, Tris, love you. Thank you for all your support with this book.
Love you
It's been
too.
amazing.
Love you too, bro.
Perfect
But
wingman. See, no, this is I'm just excited already. Perfect wingman. And I know some people are dropping some comments in there. Tristan, we're gonna talk about you and being a
mm,
digital storyteller. And I'm just gonna say to those who are live, Sarah, I can see you on my phone, but for some reason your comments are not showing up in StreamYard tonight. But know that I am seeing your comments. Tristan's work on the Connecting the Dots project was amazing. And Mary
oh,
Clark Walker, shout out to Tristan. Okay, so Tristan, what in the world is a digital storyteller
so
outside of
simply
being a
put,
wingman for Sheldon Barracks?
so simply put, digital storytelling is the process of using digital media platforms like photography, cinematography, and graphic design to tell human-centered stories. So that's what I do. I use photography, cinematography, graphic design to communicate human-centered stories. Now those human-centered stories can be used to market a product, to market an idea, a service, a organization. But I work with small to medium-sized business owners and now a lot of larger brands. Sorry about all the turning, but we're in a car. Beep beep. And my passion is to use the art and the tool of storytelling to really communicate the values of humanity and to really tell the human experience in a way that people will feel inspired, will feel uplifted, and will feel motivated to be connected with different people around the world. So it's something that is a growing passion of mine, and I continue to find different ways to tell stories.
Well, listen, if anybody needs, you need a Sheldon Barracks. In fact, you need the whole Dargon family because we're gonna be talking about the family because when we start talking about pops, we're talking about moms, and I
Yep.
already see I always see Mama Barracks as my boys is on the ones and twos of the Victory Speak show, and love more is already. I love to see what I'm seeing. I'm loving this, and so everybody you tuned in, drop your comments, and I will do my best to show those comments. And if you have some questions for the Barracks brothers, let me know. And I'll tell you a little secret here. This podcast, this show literally would not be happening without Tristan Barracks. Because when I didn't know what the heck I was doing, it was Tristan Barracks and Shirley Joseph that were like dropping it and giving free counseling and free everything. So this right here, when you start seeing Victory Speaks is brought to you in partnership with the digital storyteller, you know what's up. You know what's up. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
get into the family dynamics. So, okay, Sheldon, tell me, how many of there are you? What's the pecking order? What's happening here? Because the Barracks is a clan. This is a clan.
Yeah, so you have there's four of us from the kids, and there's three brothers and one sister. So the oldest brother, Albert Barracks, he's a junior, so we call him Albie, and so he was born in '77. I came next in 1980. So 3 years later, I was born, and it was just the
Right.
both of us. And then Tristan was born in '83, so he came 3 years later afterwards too. So we're all separated by 3 years. So
Ooh,
we grow up pretty tight because we're kind of close in age. And then 8 years after, 7 years after Tristan was born, that's when our sister Amara Cree was born. Right, so she's 7 years after Tristan. She's 10 years after me. So she's of course the baby. She's the true baby sister. She's the baby sister of the family.
True
So
baby.
pretty much,
In every
yeah.
sense of the word. Word.
So
I
yeah,
love you,
there's four
Cream.
of
I
us.
love you. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but for the majority of the time as kids, it was us three boys, and when Cree came around, she was very young, so it was really the brothers that kind of grew up together. And as Cree got older, of course, she got into the mix. But us brothers, we had a lot of memories because we grew up from being very young to like teenagers.
that is amazing. So, Tristan, what was it like growing up as a first generation Canadian in with this family with Mama? Marjorie and Papa Bobby.
Yeah, it was interesting in the sense of my parents fully embraced the Canadian experience. We didn't grow up, always having, West Indian oxtail or curry goat every Sunday and rice and peas and pigtail and all that stuff. We grew up with spaghetti and meatballs and Kraft macaroni and cheese and whatever, right? Obviously we still have our corned beef and rice and stuff, but I think the thing that was interesting with my parents were that they were all about assimilating but not forgetting, right?
Mm,
Honoring our heritage, but embracing the opportunity that this new country can give to you by embracing the cultural differences and just all of the vastness to learn, right? So they never shy away from us going into sports, whether it's learning ice skating or going into baseball or
right.
going to church that was more multicultural and not just one ethnicity. So it really prepared us for the lives that we live now, because we live in a obviously in a multicultural city and country, but specifically in our careers and in our jobs, we're very ambidextrous when it comes to dealing with different types of people from different backgrounds, because that's all we know. And we've
Right.
embraced people. I mean, and not only just that, my parents were very open with their home, right? And that really
Mm.
informed the way we want to live and be as fathers and as family members and as husbands, in terms of raising our family and creating our own family culture. So there's a lot to being a Barracks, and that's why I say, like, when we talk about the Barracks, it's a brand, and it's a brand that
Mm.
we don't necessarily always communicate. We don't verbalize saying, these are the things that a Barracks is, brand stands for, but when people interact with us, they get it immediately. It's a feeling, it's a vibe, it's an expression, and it's something that we love and we continue to build off of.
So Sheldon, tell us a little bit about your mom and dad, because when you talk about the brand and your what is it that makes them so special for you?
Um, I think that they, from the early stages of, when I knew them as mom and dad, they've always done things together, right? Like, any other couple, you're gonna always have your issues here or there. But really, truly, growing up, my parents, they showed us a lot of unity in their relationship, in their decision making. Just spending time with the family, how they ran the family. I rarely saw any disagreement in how things are going to be run. And obviously, we know it happens, but for as parents, they did a really good job of running the home together. And I'm not just talking my dad going to work and my mom staying home. They, at some point, they both went to work, and so my older brother and myself, Tristan, we had to do things on our own a lot of times after school and different things. So they trained us up to really be self sufficient. But my parents, I'm telling you, man, to this day, like they're very unified, and I know it takes a lot of hard work to do that in a relationship. I've been married for almost 19 years, and probably get into that later. But you know what, I've just seen them over the years just be very unified, and so. When you talk about my mom and my dad, that's the best thing I take from them. They're very unified in their decision making.
I love that the unity, and look at that right there. Love more was right there with unity. I love the unity piece. And okay, so now you don't even look old enough to be married that long. Let's start going into the family dynamics. Let me who got married first? You or who got married first?
I,
Him.
I got married
Here's the
first.
fun fact. The fun fact: on my wedding day, my mom and my sister had a speech saying they didn't know who I was going to get married to. They didn't even think I was going to get married. That's how hopeless my situation was. So talk to this guy, the Rico Suave over here, getting married at 21. So
Tell us, Shella, tell us about your family. Tell me about you. Tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah, so like I said, I've been married for almost 19. It'll be 19 years in September.
As old as I
Uh,
am. Yes.
yeah. It's been 19 years, and I've been married to my wife Cam Shuka for that long. We have four amazing kids. We got married in 2002, and almost exactly a year later, we had our first son Matthias Barracks, and in 2003. So my anniversary is on September 15th. His birthday is on or my anniversary is the 28th, and his birthday is on the 15th. So we started having a family right away. And then 2 years later, I had a daughter, Hope Alexis, and it was the four of us for a couple of years, and then we had two more kids in 2012 and 2014. So I have there's a family of six. My wife's amazing, Nicole. You know her for many years. Businesswoman, entrepreneur, motivational speaker. She has an amazing life story, being of Ugandan and Anglo-Indian descent. And she's an amazing woman. I love her, and I'm just looking forward to the next 20 years with her. But yeah, we have an amazing relationship, amazing family culture, and I'm getting ready to send one of my kids away to college.
What?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a bare bones summary of my life. Married 14 years. I have two teenagers, two younger kids. Almost sending one kid off to college. So that's where I stand family wise.
I giving you kudos, man. Kudos, man. You as a pops. You as a general. You as a sergeant major in the business.
You is
So Tristan,
pretty. You is smart. You can
hey,
do anything you want.
hey. So Tristan, what about you? Tell us, because you know what? For those of you joining us live and on the replay, Tristan is on his way to Ottawa, and he wanted to do this conversation so much that we did not cancel the conversation
No.
due to anything, because this was so important. Okay, back to your regularly scheduled program. Now back over to you, Tristan.
So yeah. So I mean, is the question like how long I've been married, all that sort of stuff?
All that sort of stuff. Tell us
Okay.
about you and your black love.
Yeah, black love. So I got married 11 years ago. It'll be 11 years September 3rd. So that's kind of crazy. That was 2010, September 3rd, 2010. And been married to, the love of my life. We met actually in high school in art class. There was no sliding into DMs. There was just sitting beside and trying to get the number. You know what I mean? We didn't know what DMs were. We knew what instant messenger was. So that's what we were trying to do. And when we got married, our focus was really on, my mom gave us some really great advice, which was, let the glue of marriage settle. And what she meant by that was, before you start creating big plans and taking on the world and building your family, just learn each other, listen to each other, understand each other, get on the right cadence and the right rhythm together. And then from there, do your thing, build your family, all that sort of stuff. So for the first 2.5 years, we really just tried to travel, enjoy each other, have fun, learn each other. And then we had our first child in 2012, my son Zefton. And then we had our daughter in 2014, Zion. And it's been interesting because a lot of what I found in terms of being in relationship and building my own family was that there, as a first generation Canadian, but second generation sort of like father, there are things that you want to continue, things that you want to stop and things that you want to start. And I'm constantly learning how to reevaluate and reassess, what it is to be a great husband. What are some of the things that I want to model from my father? And what are some things that I want to implement as a hybrid that include who I am as a black male, black father, black husband.
I love this. See, I'm telling you, people, get your notepads, because this is where the wisdom keys come in. So, Tristan, what was it like being a father for the first time?
It was scary as heck. I'm not gonna lie and be like I was joyous. Like when Latanya said she was pregnant, I was kind of stunned. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I want to be ready. I feel like there's a lot of self-doubt or questioning and selfishness, in the sense of just, I'm not ready because I'm not ready to put down the mantle of my own dreams, right? And after I got off of that sort of immature hill, I think the idea of being a father excited me, because it allowed me to really, I think as a man, I wanted to have a project of a person that I could create that could be a better expression of who I was. The reality is that your child is an expression of you and your partner, right? And learning how to parent together is the key facet of becoming a great parent and becoming a great father, right? And understanding that there's things that you innately as a male are the only one that's equipped to be able to pour into your child, to pour into your daughter, to pour into your son, right? And really embracing that, and then also embracing the fact that you need to trust the process and trust your partner, trust God, but then also just trust the process. Like it's like baking a cake and following all the steps, and then you constantly open the oven to see if the cake's ready, and that actually ruins or compromises the complexity of the science and the magic behind how a cake rises and becomes a cake, right? Because you need that heat, you need that baking
Yes.
process in order for that to happen. And oftentimes as parents, we want to be in every single intricate detail. And sometimes we just got to trust the process and trust what we did is the right thing to do and adjust as needed.
How did you learn to trust the process? Where did you get that wisdom from?
I mean, I would say number one is my father, Bobby Barracks,
Yeah,
and not just Bobby
yeah,
Barracks,
dad.
Marjorie Barracks. My parents were were very good learners on the fly. I have to really share this with you because I think it's really important in terms of the overarching conversation. Um, so my mom didn't grow up with her father. She grew up with her mom, but she was raised by her grandmother. My father didn't grow up with his mother or his father. His mother pretty much abandoned him when he was a baby or when he was a kid, and then his father was never in his life. And then his aunt raised him for a few years, but he was really in an all boys school and raised himself for many years as well. But he had it in his mind. He had a picture of whoever was going to rear my child, whoever was going to I was going to have a child with, I was going to be with that woman. And he made that commitment
Wow.
up in his own mind, in his own spirit, his own heart. And that led to, 4 children later, three male boys, black boys later, all in their kids' lives, all becoming fathers. So a lot of that is that. And then also the idea of my mother identifying and creating space for my father to be a father to us. Oftentimes you see in West Indian relationships, specifically Jamaican relationships, the woman wears the pants and she runs the home. And my mom has that in her, but she also has the intuition enough to understand that my dad is there and he loves his kids. He's not going nowhere. So give him the space to be that father that he needs to be to his kids. So that's really where I learned a lot of my gusto from and my stuff from. Oh, you
You make
muted yourself.
I muted myself. You see, I wanted to make the horn sound that you make. Ba, 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 ba. I wanted to do that. That was just like, you know, a key thing there you said your dad had a vision. And it speaks so much to the importance of having a vision for family. That right there was a bing bang moment because sometimes we talk about vision for business and vision for all sorts of stuff, vision for travel, but do we really write down this is a vision for my family, what that looks like in every aspect of it? I love that. Okay, so Sheldon, you have four you said, or is it five?
Yeah, 4 kids.
Just checking, just
That's
checking.
the other brother.
No,
The five
that's
is the other
Albert.
brother.
Albert
Yeah,
has
That's
five
Albert
kids.
has five.
Yeah.
between the
Don't we
two of
have to
them, they
get
have nine
everybody?
kids. Between the two of
Hey,
them, they have 9 kids. Holy
how many
smokes!
how many grandchildren?
Oh, what is it?
11.
11? 11,
11.
yeah.
Yeah.
11.
11.
And that's
Marjorie
not
and
even with them. That's not even with Cree yet. 11 with just three of them. Three of the kids.
Marjorie and Bobby, we're praying for you. So, Sheldon, what was it like for you becoming a dad for the first time? Like holding that baby for the first time. What was that like?
So I'll dial it back a little bit. So I had Matthias when I was 23 years old. Right, I was a month away from being 23 years old, so I was pretty young.
Wow.
But it goes back to the way I was raised, right? So, like we just talked about, my dad had a plan, my parents had a plan. We grew up in an amazing home environment. I don't care what anyone wants to say. We had the best parents. We had the best memories. Our lives could have been a TV show. Like that's how much fun it was growing up in the Barrocks house. So I knew I wanted to have a family when I was a teenager. Before I knew what I wanted to do for a profession, I knew I wanted to have a family. And people used to laugh at me in high school because I said I wanted to. What do you want to do? You go, I want to get married and have kids. Like I want to have a family. I want to recreate what I was raised in. So by the time I'm in my early 20s, I got married early and I had a child early. And when I held my child when I had my son for the first time, to be honest with you, I was ready. I felt like I was ready for the moment. Now, mind you, I felt like I was ready for the moment because remember we had a baby sister, so I was taking care of her at times. I was changing her diaper. Cree's gonna kill me. We were doing all that kind of stuff, but I was taking care of a young kid at times because my parents sometimes were working, right? So for me having Matthias, I was like, yo, I'm ready for this. And first couple of weeks, yeah, cool. The first couple of months, cool. Then like that terrible twos type of vibe, it's another level to have a kid. Like the patience you have to have.
Yeah.
You know that your life now is dedicated to this child. And raising this child, teaching this child, taking care of this child, providing for this child and his mother. So that's what my early 20s were all about, was just making sure that my wife and my son had what they needed, right? So yeah, listen, I thought I was ready for it. I knew how to change diapers. I was cool. I was confident. But when you're up late nights, that challenges you as a man. You're like, I gotta get up because my wife can't be the one always getting up. I gotta get up, put the kid back to bed, go back to sleep 4 o'clock, wake up 6 o'clock, and then drive an hour to work because you got to provide for your family. So my early 20s was really grinding, raising my family, doing that kind of thing. And again, like I said, 2 years later, we had another baby. So I had a toddler and a baby at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, but from an early age, and when I was a teenager, I knew I wanted a family, and I knew I wanted to build the same memories I had as a kid.
So you guys, you have been intentional. It sounds like the two of you are very intentional. I feel like I'm speaking about the Victory Speaks formula. Vision, intention. Okay. So how did the transformation? Okay, this is working here. This is working here for me today. So in the transformative stages of their life, if you're live on the replay, we are speaking to two of the Barracks clan. They will soon be producing their own TV show, Welcome to the Barracks. Yes, coming to the own
in
network,
due time.
the
Yes.
own network and satellite stations near you because they have the talent. Um, so when we talk about the transformative years, what did you learn, each of you, in your early years of fathering? What did you learn about yourselves?
Mm. I learned how to give myself grace. I think I have, for me, I have a clear vision and a clear expectations of what I should be doing and how I should be doing it and the level by which I should be executing at. And you always fail, not always, but there's many times where you fall short of what you think you should be
Right.
at as a father. I feel like I'm still transforming. Like we just went through a 15-month pandemic. There were times throughout that where I felt like every day I was waking up feeling like I was a failure as a father. You know what I mean? I
The
was
door.
not, I was not being able to produce, or provide or to stimulate my kids the way I felt like I needed to, and I had to fight off that because a lot of those negative thoughts turned into, a bout of depression or we're getting into a deeper place where it's harder to get out of, right? That sort of negative circle of doubt, right? And I think that a part of what helped me was having a network of individuals, a community of people where they could see me better than I could see me. And I think that's something that Bishop Jakes, T.D. Jakes talks about, is that, I can see you, Nicole, and I can see you, Sheldon. I can see how amazing you are, but I can't see me. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? So who are my mirrors? Who are the mirrors in my life to show me who I am and to show me the truth of what I bring to the table, right? Nicole and I had a conversation a few weeks ago where she was saying, you said to me, there are certain things that you do so well, but you can't see because you do it as second nature, Tristan. And I'm like, I know, and I can't see it, and it's frustrating because I doubt myself based on the fact that I can't see always what the value I bring. So I think as a father, bringing it back full circle back to fathering, you're constantly transforming and kind of renewing your mind and your heart and your positioning and your posture. I give a good example of my father. My father started out as our parent, right? But then he
Mhm.
transitioned when we went to our high school ages and to college. He became our advisor, but he didn't just learn that overnight. He had to make some mistakes with Albert, which
Right.
and they can talk about that. And it's nothing negative. It's just he made some mistakes as a parent, as a father, with our oldest brother Albert, and Albert made mistakes as well. And then that now made him more prepared to deal with Sheldon. And Sheldon wanted to be married early. And then by the time he was done with Sheldon, he was able to be an even better advisor. Now to the point where he's
Right.
just he's such a great partner for Cree as well. But that all comes as you learn your child and as you learn the language of each child. That's something that's big. Each
Mhm.
child has a language, right?
Yeah.
Just like your
Each
spouse has a
child has
language,
a
and yeah,
language. Whoo.
you know, you need to learn that language. And if you don't learn
Yeah.
that language, then you'll miss out on the access points of really being able to connect with the child in a deep way.
I love that.
Yeah.
Each child has a language. And the fact that your dad was learning through the process, and it speaks to his humility. I mean, your dad, Bobby, is one of the humblest men that I know, like bar none. Like, and I can see it all happening all through all of you, just the way that you manifest in the world and you show up, you do what you got to do. And it's not like you're looking for props and stuff like that, but you do what you got to do. So I really really admire that about you. What did you learn, Sheldon, in your early years of fathering about yourself?
Yeah, I'm just gonna echo Tristan's sentiments about understanding your kid's language. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm the typical dad who wanted to have a boy first because you want the boy to play sports like you did growing up, right? And when my son was, I think he was 10 or 11 or whatever, I got him into football, and he did it, and I was surprised that he wanted to do it, but he did it for 1 year, and after that, he didn't do it anymore. And then I came to find out, like maybe a year later, that he really just did it for me. He didn't care to do it.
Mm,
And I didn't, as a father, I didn't do a good job of really listening to his language and understanding what he really wanted to do. So um, that really showed me that I have to really understand who my kids are, what their talents and giftings are, and lead them in that way. And each kid is going to be different. So you got it. You raise them, you love them the same, but you can't raise them the same because they have different languages. And my son in particular is a very bright kid, ridiculously bright, but he doesn't do well in classroom settings. He does well learning on his own, right? So you can give him a computer, give him books, and he'll learn anything in like a day or a week, right? Put him in a classroom and try and to learn like other kids. That's not his MO. So me and my wife have been very intentional about raising him, and now he's going off to college, right? So yeah, that's the one piece that I learned a lot, is that you really have to raise kids, different. You love them the same, but you got to raise them different, because my daughter's
right.
completely different than my son, and then my two younger ones, God help me, they're completely different than my first two, right? So yeah, and I have two of each, right? I have an older boy, older girl, younger boy, younger girl. So, and they're completely different, right? So they have similarities, but you got to really raise kids, differently, and understand their own vibration, because they all have their unique vibration and their unique personality. That's probably the biggest piece there. Other than, you just honestly have to be patient and understand that fatherhood is for life. You can't jump in and out of fatherhood.
Mm,
Like you can't do that. You have to understand that this is your job to take care, teach, raise your children. You can't rely on a pastor. You can't rely on a teacher. You can't rely on anybody else. You got to raise your children. Sending kids to church or sending them to school is not going to solve the problem.
fatherhood is for life. Sheldon, I mean, like Tristan, where's the sound effects? Where's the sound effects? Come on now. God of mercy.
Oh man.
Lord of mercy.
Listen,
Woo.
that first gem there, like I want to write that down, put that on a t-shirt. It's like, you love your kids the same, but you raise them differently. Like
Differently.
that's exactly how I feel. and
So are you ever
you
doing a
don't.
fatherhood video? I feel a fatherhood video, second reel, because you did
I
a
know, I
fatherhood
know,
video,
I know, I know.
second fatherhood video part two. This, but
I've
the Barracks clan.
you know what's so funny is like I've literally for probably for the past 7 years I've done a fatherhood tribute video or a Mother's Day tribute video just because I just think it's so important, and I have all these ideas about getting fathers in a room talking about
Mm,
fatherhood, because I think that that would be really, really powerful, from the standpoint of people listening in, but then also for them to hear each other, because I think there would be a lot more galvanizing of ideas and feelings and just relationship building, you know?
so I feel a conference. I feel a documentary. I see,
Documentary. Netflix is calling
documentary,
us.
and we have the talent in the family for people who know how to get funding, right? And we have the funders, and that kind of stuff. So we're going to get this done. So when it comes to challenges, right? Some of the challenges you face, how did you get over some of those challenges? I mean, Sheldon, you kind of made reference to, like, I like the fact that you listened to your son and realized that he didn't like football. But what were some key challenges you may have faced in being a father that you had to overcome, and how did you do it?
um, I think I think some of the biggest challenges is when kids become teenagers and they have their voices deeper. They're more opinionated. They have more access to information and things that you don't want them to have access to. No matter how hard you try, they still might get access to it. So
Yeah,
I think the challenging part is to really have that balance between you really want to protect them and teach them, but you don't want to cover them completely from what's going on in the world. You got to be able to help them understand what's happening in the world, what's happening to them as they're changing, the whole puberty thing, and having the sex talk. You got to help them understand that their own development and understand what's going on in the world, and you can't just hide it from them. I think hiding it from them does more damage, and we know this. We've seen it, with other people growing up, and of course, if you expose everything to them, that's damaging too. So I think it's very challenging, and I'm not just talking about teenagers. Like this
yeah,
happens at preteens. This
yeah.
happens at my younger son. He's 9, right? And Tristan, his boy is 9 too as well. Quick sidebar: our younger kids are the exact same age. So we both have boys
Wow,
that are 9 and both have girls that are 7, born in the same year. So
And they're like
yeah,
besties. They're besties. They're
that is
besties.
besties.
fabulous.
Oh, yeah. When they get together,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah,
There's
they're
nothing like
besties.
cousins that are like brothers.
Oh yeah, yeah. Our
Brother
family's
cousins.
like
Yeah.
that. Our
Yeah,
cousins are
yeah,
like that. Even from the oldest ones are like that. But yeah, I think that's probably honestly that's one of the biggest challenges. I think parenting has all those unique things, but I think the biggest thing is when you need to connect them to the world and help them to understand themselves and the world and how they relate. You got to find that balance between how much do I show them and talk to them, and how much do I hold, and how do I slowly start revealing more and more and having bigger conversations, more conversations about the dangers of life and things that they have to watch out for. It's a slippery slope, and it's a very delicate conversation because it's never going to be perfect. As a father or a mother, you're never perfect. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to give too much, or you're going to hold back too much, but you keep trying every day.
I love that. And I know we're going to bear with Tristan because Tristan is traveling and he's going for it. I want to ask you this question, Sheldon. What surprised you um, when you became a parent? What was surprising to you?
Um,
Say
Surprising.
that
That's
again.
a
What
good
was
question.
surprising?
I was asking what surprised him about himself. What surprised you about yourself when you became a father?
Um,
Okay.
I surprised me about myself. I'll be honest. Let's be real. I realized how impatient I was. To be honest with you, like I said, we grew up with a dad that was like the prototypical, dad. Amazing, funny. He was patient with us when he had to, and when he had to discipline us, he disciplined us. But I realized it myself where I was very impatient. When my kids were acting up, I was very impatient with them, and I got very frustrated. And
Mm,
I told my wife, like, listen, take these kids because I can't do this, right?
right.
So I had to really work on that, and mind you, it's nothing violent. It's just
Yeah.
being very frustrated with the situation and with them either talking back or just not listening or not cleaning the room. And don't you, as a father, you got to work on that. You got to be understand that sometimes they're gonna talk back and do all that kind of stuff, and you got to be able to cool down and handle it properly and not allow the emotions run up. You know what I mean? Because then it's just a shouting match, and that solves nothing. So I think I learned quickly, like early on when I had my first two in my early 20s. I really lacked patience, and I needed patience because I was getting frustrated up late night, kids crying, won't go to sleep. That's one of the most frustrating things, and that's when you really learn what fatherhood's all about.
Mm.
It's cute and everything with the commercials and whatnot, but when you're up late at 3 a.m., you have to go to work the next day, and the kids just not going to sleep, and you need to just turn on the TV to make sure that's up and watch something and fall asleep.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is how bad that sounds. You're gonna do it because the kid needs to sleep because you need to go to work. But it starts to reveal things in you that you need to work on. Parenting really reveals the deep stuff in you that you really need to focus on.
And the fact that
Yeah.
you were able to recognize what it was and start working on it, that that speaks so highly of you. So Tristan, what surprised you about yourself becoming a daddy?
I think for me, the number one thing I think about is capacity. I didn't think I had the capacity. I just didn't, and that was uh, the big reason for that doubt, that self doubt, was because of the fact that we have such a strong father. Um, when you grow up and your father is just a grinder, like has his 9 to 5, then he's working like three, every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, on his side hustle. Then he turns his side hustle to his full time hustle, and then he rears up all these kids, and like he never saw that. There's a lot of pressure you put on yourself to match that level of commitment, intensity, and consistency. And I know for myself, the biggest thing was like, can I match that? Do I have that capacity? And I think the realization that I had to come to was I'm 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 not the tree that is my father. I'm one of the branches. So I'm
Ooh.
an expression of him, right? But I'm not him. You see what I'm saying? So I'm an expression or an extension of him, right? And I may, obviously creating my own family is kind of creating my own segment of that tree, but I'm not Bobby Barracks. I'm Tristan Barracks, Bobby's son. And I have to feel fully committed and fully um, confident in that skin. And once I did that, then everything else worked a lot better for me. Obviously, understanding that I need an outlet as a father. You cannot just continue to just work, provide for your family,
You're
and
right.
and not have an outlet to still be a person, to still
Mhm.
be able to go out with your friends, your male friends, and talk and connect. I'm very reclusive because I'm a very intense person when I find my thing to do. So storytelling. I want to do a film. I want to do YouTube. I want to help inspire people. I want to build stuff. I'm a builder, right? I'm a visionary that way. But then oftentimes I take myself away from relationships that help feed and foster that energy for me to continue to go on. And as a father, even with my brothers, it's like I'm out of all three of us, or four of us, I'm the sibling that won't text oftentimes in the group text message. Not because I don't love them, I don't miss them, but because I'm so reclusive. I'm just so busy doing my thing, right? Being a father, trying to create, do this, all this
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah.
and I forget the importance of being able to reconnect, to talk about Mary
Mm.
J. Blige, or to bust a joke, or to reminisce about growing up as a Barracks, so then I can remember the brand and remember who I am, to then continue on in that identity. And those sort of things are things that I'm really trying to learn. Like I tell Sheldon all the time, I'm so sorry, I need to hit you up more, or whatever else, or we need to go out to eat or whatever else. And oftentimes I find myself just saying, you know what, let me just give him a call. Let's just send a text. Let's just do those things to stay connected, so that the DNA of who we are as fathers can stay true and authentic.
That is so key, especially in this time. And I think the pandemic has taught us that we got to remember
Yeah.
No matter what. Because sometimes it's not that we don't want to, it's sometimes, just life is just happening and it's just
Yeah.
happening so fast. It's just happening so fast. And you're both co parenting. How did you navigate this co parenting styles? Because, I mean, your lifestyles were different, growing up under the barracks, the lineage, the papa and the mama. How did you co parent? How did you handle this co parenting give and take? What did you learn about that? Who wants to
Um,
go?
So, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah. So the question is, how do we handle co-parenting, right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think for me, sorry. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
For me, I didn't handle co-parenting well. You know what I mean? I thought I had all the answers. Because I was the one coming with the mom that was still together, right? 10 years mom and dad didn't stay together. They actually broke apart when she was very young, right? So there was a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of, I wouldn't say
Mm,
cockiness, but a little bit of, I know a little bit more than you do, and not really relying on the gravitas that my wife and my spouse walked in. There's a there's a level of grace and a level of compassion that she walks in as a parent that I've learned to utilize. As a Jamaican, coming from a Jamaican lineage, you're like, listen to me. Tonight is bedtime. 7:30 is bedtime. Go to bed. Eat your green beans, right? And you think that they're gonna listen to you, and that's it, right?
right.
But you also, going
Yeah.
back to learning and rearing your child, and each child being different, you have to understand the language, right? And my wife was just better at me at that, you know what I mean? And that was something that I had to learn, and I had to take a step back, and I continue to take a step back when I am finding it challenging to get through to my son or my daughter, and see how Natanya is really handling it. Talk to her about it, or sometimes she'll just be like, "Listen, like you're just flat out wrong. Like make this right. Like make it
Yes.
right." And sometimes as a man, the man in you is like, "What? I'm not making nothing right. I'm the man. I'm the father. Listen to me because I'm your father, right?" But when you take your own ego out of it and you
Yes.
understand it's not about you, you hear what the person is saying, your spouse is saying, and you're like, "Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I need to make it right. I need to educate them on this. This is a learning or teachable moment." So that's for co-parenting. Co-parenting is very interesting because it's a series of interchangeable steps and
Hmm.
interactions that have to be organic and symbiotic, and they can only be that way if you have the lines of communication with your spouse. Even if you're not with your spouse, you have to have those lines of communication there in order for you to be able to uh, properly pour and rear into the child that you're rearing together, right?
Well, I love that. You had to exude
Yeah.
humility. You had to come down. You had to come down.
Yep.
That's the why in the victory, the victory thing. Yield to the process. Yield, my brother. Yield. Peace and love. Sheldon, what about you? How is co-parenting with you? How are you handling co-parenting?
It's funny. It's like the same thing what Tristan said. You kind of come into parenting like, I got this, and I know my role as a father, and my wife knows her role, and we're gonna kind of do this together. And I would wake up, I would get ready, go to work, come back home, and I would spend time with the kids, and then we do dinner or whatever, and then we would spend more time with the kids, and then I'd put them to sleep, and then that would be it. And I thought like that was my piece. That was it. I did my part. I'm a great father. I spend time with them when I come home from work. I spend time with them on the weekend. But honestly, it took me a long time to realize that I wasn't really doing as much as I thought I was. And exactly what Tristan says, you have to listen to your spouse because that's the only person that could tell you how well you're co-parenting. You can't say, well, I'm co-parenting because I'm doing X, Y, and Z, not knowing that she's doing the rest of the alphabet. You know what I mean? She's doing
Yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah,
else,
yeah.
right? And I would like, I'm learning even just a couple of years ago, even this year, I learned stories of me being at work and the amount of stuff that my wife had to do when I was at work. And
Mm,
just so everyone knows that's listening, like she's home taking care of the kids while she's building her own business,
yes,
right?
yes.
So at one point, she was homeschooling and building her business. So
Wow.
I thought you kind of get lost in your own glory sometimes because you're like, I'm a dad that takes care of my kids. I provide. I spend time with them. I'm great. But when it really comes down to it, you have to be humble enough to listen to your spouse, and it's not easy because you're like, what are you talking? Like Tristan said, what are you talking about? Like I'm here. I'm not like these deadbeat
Yeah.
dads, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
just because you're here doesn't mean you're present, and doesn't mean you're doing the right things, because you could be spending time with your kids, but you're not really doing what you need to be doing to raise the kids. Spending time with kids and raising kids are two different things. Spending time and watching a Disney movie with them is fine, but you actually need to be raising children and teaching them, right? And helping them understand certain things.
Just to add to that, sorry, like it's so like you hit the nail on the head so much, Sheldon, because the idea of like that emotional part of fatherhood and being emotionally connected to your children is something that I'm finding to be so fulfilling. Like stopping and actually having conversations with a child
Mm-hmm.
about their dreams, about their aspirations, what makes them feel bad or good. What do they like that you do? What do they not like that you do? Getting feedback, like actual getting feedback about who you are, how you're doing as a father from basically your clients, right? Your children are your clients. Now, mind you, not getting candy before bed is not really a feedback point that I'm going to take into consideration. But, oh, I didn't like when you did this to me, or you said this to me, or when you tease me here, or you make me feel this way, or I feel like this, or really having to listen and how to be like, oh, dad, maybe I did come off like a bully. Maybe I shouldn't have said that in front of them. Maybe I shouldn't have made them listen to that or watch that. Maybe they
Mm,
feel apprehensive around me because there are things that I do to make them feel off kilter, right? All of those subtle nuances are the messages in between the actual lines, right? It's like, yeah, you can say I am a great black dad because I'm there, I provide, I'm not deadbeat, I put them to bed. But what's in between the putting them to bed? Maybe before bed they wanted to get your attention about something about school, or something about a girl, or something about a friend, or something about their dreams, and you were too busy, on YouTube, or creating a video, or doing a live stream, but you're there for bedtime, so you thought you're a great dad, but you weren't actually listening at them. Not listening, not just listening, but listening at them and really being attentive to what they have to say, right? So yeah.
I just
Exactly.
wait to see if Sheldon want to jump in there any little bit there, and if you're good, Sheldon, because your brother is
No,
dropping
I'm
it like
just.
it's hot now.
No. Everything you said was exactly right, and it's getting much deeper with your kids, right? Like, I mean, that's when you talk about co-parenting as a father, you have to actually parent, and I spent some time, and we talked about this earlier, that you can't raise each kid, the same. You got to know their own vibration, their own language. And just the other day, I spent time with my 9-year-old son, and we did a one-on-one. My daughters were sleeping, and then my other son, he spent time with his cousins, and my wife was out with some friends. So me and him had some one-on-one time. I allowed him to stay up late because it's the end of the school year, and it was nice because he started to show me different things that, like Tristan said, he'll be showing me before I'm on my phone, I'm doing something else, whatever. But I had time to be really dedicated to what he was telling me about, and he's showing me details on the screen and everything. And I just saw how much care and concern he had, and it was really nice to have dedicated time with one child to really feel their energy and really just feel their spirit and enjoy that time with that one child. And it's so important to have those unique moments with each child
Mm,
together, yes, of course, but each child have that unique time. Usually every couple of months I try and take out my older daughter on a breakfast. We like to go for breakfast early Sunday
yes.
morning, and we do a one-on-one. And she won't, like, she's a creative person, and she doesn't go out of her way to talk a lot in groups and stuff. But when I take her out for breakfast, she won't stop talking. Right? She'll talk my ear off, right? And it's amazing the things that come out of her mouth. And I'm just amazed at the things that she's thinking about and different things. She even taught me different things about, how about she learned 16 personalities and different things. So taking unique time with each kid is so
Yeah.
important because
Yeah.
you learn so much about who they are as a person, as people, not just your kids.
I love that. So everybody live and on the replay, thank you. You're watching the Barracks, two of the Barracks clan, two of the Barracks brothers, of the whole entire Barracks family. I just want to give you some flowers here as you watch the Victory Speak show. Miss Shirley Joseph says, "You know you're big time when you get driven during a live." Hey,
Bro. Big up yourself, Natalia Barracks.
hey, I'm telling you. And some more
Uh,
flowers here. Marge is like, I love these guys. They need to teach classes on this. I'm just saying, yeah, you guys need to do something. It's you guys need to do something. And then these two, I'm gonna drop these two for you, real nice, coming up on the rare end. Here is one coming up. Let me bring it up now. You know who she is. The queen bee is in
Barracks
the
man.
house. Come true, Barracks
Yes.
man. Come true, fire. And of course, the matriarch is here. It's okay for me to say I'm feeling proud right now. Yes, Mama Barracks. Yes, Mama
Yes,
Barracks.
yes.
We're loving it. We're loving it. We're loving it. And thank you, Paula, for saying wonderful show. So watch this. We want to pivot a little bit here. You both have a girl and a boy. I mean, you have one. But Sheldon, what has been the difference? And I love the fact that you taking your daughter on dates. What is the difference as a black father in particular, raising black men, black boys, and these black girls? What do you have to
Oh
be so
wow,
conscious
wow.
of in your blackness?
Do you
Let
want to
me.
go first? All right, go. Okay, go
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
start because
I'm just gonna
I know
sit
what
back.
direction you're
Yes.
gonna go, Andrew. So I'll
Yeah,
start because let me tell you something. Like our culture is like we're taught to be so rough on our boys. I'm telling you that right
Mm,
now. That's in our culture, right? So I can, and I thought about this question, because you had sent this questions ahead of time, and I honestly, I can rail up my sons and feel no
mhm.
ways at all. Like, I can yell them out, cuss them out, and they're supposed to be strong, they're supposed to take it and do that. I rarely do that for my oldest daughter. She's turning 16 this year. Whenever she acts up, I go to my wife and say, "Listen, handle that," because I'm a weakling when it comes to her. Like I can't do it. And when I do rail her up, afterwards I feel so bad inside. I'm like, oh my god, man! Like I just it hurts me when I have to do that to my girl, right? Because it's just I don't know. There's something different about boys and girls. Whereas as men, we just feel like, you have to. As boys, you got to be tough. You're gonna get my yelling, and I'm not gonna feel any ways about it. Whereas
Right.
when girls, you just want to kind of protect them. So when you have
Mm,
to discipline them and be rough on them, and they need it, it's kind of like it kind of hurts. So I'll be honest with you. When it comes to my oldest daughter, I push it off to my wife as much as possible because I'm not trying to be that parent. I'll be honest with you. I'm not trying to be that parent because I'll take it easy on her. I'll give her. I won't be as rough on my daughter. But it's the dynamics, right? I know it's something you always have to build and learn as you go on, and I'm getting better at it. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest. My youngest daughter, I feel no ways with her. I'll yell her out too, but again, she has a soft spot for me, which I'll give in afterwards. So there's just this thing about daughters we have a soft spot for them as men.
Daddy's
But
girls. Daddy's girls.
yeah,
Yes.
but it's I don't want not to be long winded, but I want to be honest with you. We're rough on our sons, but we really need to balance that with some
Mm,
sensitivity because they are sensitive. My both of my boys are very sensitive, right? So I have to temper the way I talk to them and speak to them and discipline them and balance that out with love. Both of them. I was gonna say my younger one, but actually both of them are very sensitive. So there has to be a balance, when you're dealing with your sons. But I can't lie. Girls get away with murder. It's just realities. It's the
but
reality.
they call
but
it murder.
murder she wrote. Hey, well, when you think about, you do speak about emotional intelligence in your book, Sheldon. So I would think that, taking your own advice, bringing it over to the boys, it's that piece of the emotional intelligence, allowing our boys to share their emotions. So Tristan, how about you, my friend? Black fatherhood, um,
Yeah,
raising your boy and your daughter and your son.
yeah. I think for me, the approach or the when I think about the differences is for my son, I think about making sure that he has sort of that experience of having somebody, an older male, to give him that sort of tough love, but at the same time, love. So here's the thing. So when I was growing up, I had two older brothers. Okay, All right. So we would wrestle, fight, and we would tussle, we would bruise each other, we'd do all this stuff. Okay. I would wear Sheldon's clothes, I'd wear Albert's clothes, I don't care. I'd sneak out the house with the shoes, all this stuff, go out to parties, whatever, not parties, but like church concerts. Okay. So those sort of experiences are things that I was used to, right? And because Zefton, my son, is older, he doesn't have anybody above him to kind of prepare him for just life, right? Like, what are you going to do when a bully gets in your face? What are you going to do with
Right.
conflict? How are you going to respond to conflict when you're not getting supported by your teacher, right? How do
Mhm.
you defend yourself? Those are things that I'm strongly like an advocate for. I believe in teaching your children, specifically your boys, not to fight, to be fighters, but to defend themselves if they need to. But then also teaching them how to navigate in the world from very young. From a very young age, I made sure that Zefton was was respectful with police officers. Knew who they
Yes.
were. Knew that they were part of the community, that we were part of the community, that we were partners in building better communities together, a better community together. If a police cruiser passes our house, we wave, we do certain things. I stop sometimes and I get the cops to talk to Zefton because he wants to learn. At one point he wanted to be a police officer. I didn't want to shy away from being
Yes.
very intentional about building the right perspectives about the ecosystem of building a positive community and the right community, and being a black male in this world. The other thing though was I immediately, when we moved to Shelburne, Ontario, big up Shelburne, Ontario, and I was a part of the parent council. Number
Mm.
one, because I wanted them to see a
Yes.
black parent, a black father, a black individual that was going to be involved, that was involved in his child's life, right? And I wanted to make sure that if there were going to be choices made about education, about the educational experience, I want to make sure that there were diversity of voices and opinions that could reflect the growing demographic change within our communities. So things like that are things that I thought about when it came to my kids, specifically around the black boy experience, black girl experience. What I'm realizing is like I need to like just check in with my daughter and be like, "You want some cuddle time?
Mm.
Do you want a daddy daughter time? Do you want to get a little
Yes.
treat? Do you want to create a video? Do you want to watch a movie? I'm notorious for Friday nights or movie nights for the family. I'm notoriously always trying to get out of it because I hate watching movies that are only kid appropriate. I'm like, let's get Rambo First Blood, and all my kids need to watch that. Let's watch, the most
Oh.
rated R movie, right? And obviously we can't do that, right? Right, kids, we don't do
Oh
that.
God.
But Terminator 2 is on the ballot right now. No, I'm kidding. But honestly, it's me really kind of saying what matters to them, right? What experiences, like a part of the reason why I create the films that I create and the pieces I create. I said this to Natania and some other people. It's my love letter to them. It's me
Mm.
creating a canon of my values and my vision and my perspective of the world, so that when they get older, why was daddy in Jamaica, or why was daddy in the European Union or wherever else? He was creating things that was ultimately a love letter of sorts to show us what life was about. You know what I mean? Yes, I'm going to physically be with them and spend time with them, but I also wanted them to be able to have something that they can look back on and see the many folds of,
Mhm.
who Tristan Barrocks was, who Natanya Barrocks was, who we were. I have too much footage of them, right? But a part of that is just me saying, I can't always be there for you the way I want to, but what I can do is I can create this sort of life um, legacy piece that I can give to you,
Mhm.
and you can look back and say, this is the totality of the expression of what it is to be a Barracks, what it is to be Tristan Barracks, to be Nathaniel Barracks, to be Zefton Barracks, Zion Barracks, and hopefully they can get inspired by it and understand that my love has always been there for them. but I might express it in different ways. So I know I rambled on for a while, but that's sort of the way I approach it.
You didn't ramble. You tell a story. You're a digital storyteller. You tell a story.
Exactly.
And as Joan Pierre says, your parents did a great job raising you both. You have to help young fathers in some way. And as we speak of, as Joan brought in the young fathers, and what advice do you have for young fathers, especially young Black fathers?
Uh, I'll jump in first. I think the first thing you need to understand is people say it a lot. It's not about you, but it really isn't about you, and it's not just it isn't about you when it comes to being sacrificial for your children or your child, but it's also being sacrificial for the woman or the person that birthed that child for you, that carried that child for you, even if you're not together. That doesn't subvert the idea of giving respect and love and honor to a person that carried your child, right? And understanding their role and their voice, and the importance of their voice in your child's life. I think those are two things that are really, really important. It's not about you. It's about the child. It's about the person that you're working with to rear the child. And it's about going in head first. There is no blueprint for your child because it's your child. You got to learn. The only way that you're going to learn the language of your child and the vibe of your child is by learning your child, by spending time with your child. That's it. You know what I mean? Nobody can teach you how to be a parent. People can
Yeah,
advise you and give you some good tips, but this child is your child, and you got to learn how to speak and connect to that person.
I love that. And what about you, Sheldon?
Yeah,
Advice
I
for
mean,
young fathers.
yeah, Tristan said it the best. I mean, the only advice I can give is be all in. That's it. I mean, to be honest with you, it's a journey. Fatherhood's a journey because there's so many different phases, right? There's newborn, infant, toddler,
Mhm.
kid, preteen, teen, whatever. So in order to see that progression and if you want a healthy raise a healthy child, you got to be all in from start to finish. It's a journey. So when you say to your significant other, let's have a baby, it's not so we can have something cuddly to hold. It's you're saying you want to create a human being that you're going to raise up to be someone that's going to be beneficial to society. Like that's the way you got to think it. So it's hard to give advice. I can only say be all in and learn as much as you can learn about being a father and a good father. When it comes to specifically Black fathers, I would say just don't get caught up in what society says about Black fathers, or don't get caught up in what assumptions are made because of a few bad apples or because of a few bad images that people want to push in front of you that may or may not be Black. You could be a great dad. You could be an awesome dad. You could be a beneficial dad and you may not be the right situation, whether you're with the mother or not. You could still be an
Right.
amazing father.
Yes.
But I would say, I'll be honest with you, from my heart of hearts, my only advice is fatherhood, you have to be all in. Like there's no, like people just want me in and out and it's hard, but you have to be all in to raise these children. You can't be like, I'm here today. Nah, I don't want to do this for a bit. And then come back when they're like preteens. Yeah, I want to be a father again. Like it doesn't work that way, So that's the only advice I can really, really give to new fathers.
Go ahead,
Can I just
Tristan.
jump in and say this? Um, I love what you said, Sheldon. All of that, and I would add to that. I would say, um, be unapologetic about your fatherhood. Uh, be a
Yes.
father with a sense of urgency, with a sense of purpose, with a sense of
Mm,
intentionality. Right? Don't
Yep.
just be a passive dad. It's not good enough to buy patty and cocoa bread for your kid, or to just make sure that they have a roof over their head and clothes on their back. Be invested, be emotionally invested. It's so rewarding. But beyond that, the one thing I can say without a shadow of a doubt is know that your voice is valuable. Your voice is immeasurable. Your voice is needed in your child's life. Your voice is not just, hey, don't do that, don't pick up that, don't break that. Your voice is the essence of who you are, what you bring to the table, your perspective on life. Your perspective is not just your gift to the world, but it's your gift to your child. The vehicle that you can use are the stories and the memories and the experiences that you've gone through, that you can then teach them, use them as teachable moments, right? That's the beauty of fatherhood, is that it's not for perfect people. It's for people that are purposeful and that are open to expressing parts of themselves that they may not even know is valuable, but becomes valuable because of the position that you hold in that person's life. Me teaching or telling Zefton about my school struggles may seem insignificant to me, because it's like, that's so many years ago. But the posture and the position that I hold in his life as his father, the voice of his father saying, hey, I struggled in school. So if you struggle in school, it's okay, because you see daddy making money now and being successful. It hits different. So that's why I'm saying your voice is immeasurable. It's so valuable to your children. Never forget that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Listen. We need a part 2, a part 3. We got to bring on everybody. So, I know Tristan's in the car. I'm being cognizant. I want you to share with me a message to your. Let's start with this. A message to your mom and dad. Go Sheldon, go Tristan. Message. What would you like to say to your parents?
Well, I want to say to my parents, seeing as how my mom's probably watching this right now still.
She is.
I'll be honest with you. Mom and dad, you gave us an amazing childhood. And I know we say this a lot, but you really did. You gave us an amazing childhood. I can't remember a day where I was scared to go to bed or I was worried about something. No matter if we lived in an apartment or when we eventually moved to a house, home was sweet home. It was an amazing place to be. Tristan talked about movie night on a Friday night. Where did that come from? That came from mom and dad. Friday nights with pizza, family nights,
ice cream, rum and raisin ice cream, all that stuff.
Yeah, that my mom would eat herself and wouldn't give us any.
Who took my grape nut ice cream? Who finished out my grape nut ice cream? I can't believe these greedy kids.
But I'll tell you, like, I hear Tristan talking, and everything he talks about, it sounds like my dad. You know what I mean? And I'm probably the same when I talk about fatherhood. So I would say to my mom and dad, both of you, I love you. I love the home that you made, and the reason why I do what I do, and I know Tristan does what he does, and even Albie with his children, is because of the experience that you gave us. You gave us an awesome home, and I don't like to make this correlation all the time today. I used to make it a lot, but because Cosby is somewhat of a wayward thing, but that whole idea of the Huxtable family, we had that, and they gave us that, and it was, I'm telling you, growing up has been amazing. It was amazing to be kids, so mom and dad, thank you for just the environment that you raised us in, and whether you had a lot or little, you made sure that we had an amazing experience growing up. I'll give you this one piece, and I don't think my mom and dad ever heard this, but we were talking, me and my older brother were talking one time, and we're talking about, I said something like, mom and dad were amazing, even though we didn't have everything growing up. And then my older brother corrected me. He's like, what are you talking about? They gave us everything. Even though no matter what little they had, they always gave us. They always made sure that we had an amazing childhood without breaking their back, So just to say, mom, dad, love you, love the environment, love the family culture that you created, and it's extending to our families and to our children to this day, So when this pandemic is fully over, we're looking forward to coming up to Hamilton to have a big Barracks barbecue.
Party time. Mr. Tristan, you want to add anything? Or you're crying?
Man, I mean that was perfectly said. I think what I will say to my mom and my dad, I would say, mom and dad, thank you so much for giving us the space to imagine bigger, deeper, greater things. I think that we never had to think about safety. We never had to think about food. We never had to think about money. We never had to think about anything other than our dreams. And we are literally standing on the shoulders of both of you. And I think that everything you didn't have, you were able to create out of out of the gift of God. Really, it was just literally an expression of a vision that God gave that now is our expression of who we are. You know what I mean, with our families and with our kids. So I just want to say thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for never making us feel like we were ever not in a family that was together. You know, thank you for fighting and showing us enough to know that marriage isn't perfect, but giving us never giving us the sense that marriage was something that was easily exited from. Thank you for giving us the stability of knowing that love is deep, it's wide, it's immeasurable, it's hard, it's frustrating, it's all consuming, it's a work in progress. Thank you for allowing us to know that marriage is not necessarily a destination, but it's a journey. All of those things. Thank you for allowing us to know that kids are a blessing and kids come first and family comes first. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, I feel she tearing up. You know, I'm gonna put back up the little thing, the hearts. Marjorie, tell me if you're crying. Tell me if you're crying. Your papa is putting up dollar signs. Dollar sign time. Yes, they're gonna make a documentary.
Money
They're gonna make a
time.
documentary.
Hey, he's our
Hey,
agent, eh? He's our personal agent. So
listen.
if anybody wants to book us, they have to go through Bobby Barracks, okay, senior. Okay.
Your mom is like Bobby Barracks. You just had to. Hey. So we're gonna get a little emotional for a minute here. Get out your tissues. I'm just gonna say how sweet it is must be for parents. Yes, Sarah.
Nicole, just give
Yes.
me a second. I'm having some
Go ahead.
audio issues.
Okay, I'll give you a second as I put up some comments here. And you know, I've been
I got.
talking to Mr. Barracks.
I'm not gonna lie. I have like 14% battery left. So if I cut
You
off, it's
better
not my fault.
listen. We're gonna wrap this bad boy up in like 2 seconds. I need a
No worries.
message
No worries.
to each of you. We go maximize the battery. What do you have to
Mhm,
say to your brothers? Because I know one isn't here, but
mhm, mhm.
Tristan, as your brother is
Yeah.
working it out, what
Yeah.
message do you have to your brother Sheldon and to your brother
Yeah.
Albert Jr.?
Wow, I want to say to Albert, Albie, Redkin, and Shelbert, and Sheldon Barracks. I just want to say I love you guys. I honestly look up to you guys. I always wanted to be as cool as you guys were, as well read and as well connected as you guys were, as creative as you guys are, I should say, and you know, the thing that I'm most proud about when it comes to both of you guys is that you guys are literally like amazing fathers. You guys are so engaged, so connected, so on the nose when it comes to fatherhood, and I respect that so deeply, especially because you have double and kind of triple the amount of kids I have. I have no idea how you guys do it, but I want to say I love you guys. I want to say that I'm a fan. I'm not just a brother, but I'm a fan of who you guys are, and I cheer you guys on from afar and up close. And if there's ever any time that you guys need any help, I want to be a part of that. You know, that group of people that helps you fulfill your dreams, fulfill your aspirations, your goals. There's so much more. Like people look at me and say, "Oh, Tristan's the film guy. He's the guy on camera, whatever else." But I look at you guys and I draw so much inspiration from you guys, and I want you guys to win so much more than I want to win myself. So yeah, that's all I have to say to you guys. Love you guys.
Okay, he didn't cry. That was amazing. I know you're
Yeah.
trying to you I think really and truly the tears coming down, but you know the light going down low. Turn the lights down
Look,
low.
you
Yeah,
can see.
the light going down low. Yeah. Sheldon, what's your word to your brothers?
I'm just gonna simply say honestly, I love you, Tris. I love Albie. I definitely want to continue to build our relationship as we get into older age. You know, our kids love each other to death, which is amazing.
To life, to life,
And
to life, to life. They love each other
oh
to
yeah,
life.
still yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
Yes,
life.
to
yeah,
life,
yeah.
to
Yes, yes,
life.
yes.
To life,
Victory
life.
speaks.
Yeah.
Victory speaks life. All right, all right.
But I, you know what, I think that, you know, it was amazing growing up together. We had a lot of memories, and you know, we grow up, we get into our 20s, we get married, we do our own thing, and we connect on and off. But I definitely want to continue to grow together closely with you, Tris, and Albie, and whether we work on projects together or we just chill out and we just continue to grow together and to continue to hold this family culture together. And I think that's my word right there, is that I want me, you, and Albie to continue to hold this family culture together as mom and dad get older, as they pass on. We can still pass on that culture to our kids as they start their families too as well. So love you. And I'm going to say I miss you because I haven't seen you in a while.
I
But I
know.
really, it's been too long, but I really want to spend more time with you, spend more time with Albie, with Cree, us four, get together and just continue to hold together the Barracks culture so that permeates down to our children and it continues. And everything that we learn from mom and dad, we can pass on to them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yep.
willing to host a family reunion right here. Okay, what were you going
Yeah.
to say, Tristan?
No, no. I was just gonna say no. I agree with what Sheldon was saying, and I feel like I have some things in the works where I just really feel like our family story has to be told in a lot of different capacities because I think people will get a lot of inspiration from it. We're not perfect people, but we're passionate about loving each other and building a larger legacy for our kids. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
So the tearjerker is going to come right now for the wives because we can't leave them out, right?
Yes.
Um, as you were co-parenting with your beautiful wives, what as fathers, as husbands, what do you want to say to your beloved? And I know yours right there in the car. And if you're
Yes,
seeing
she's driving.
if you're seeing Tristan in a little low light, just bear with us because it's more about the verbiage right now.
Yes.
He's traveling to Ottawa, and the conversation's so sweet we couldn't cut it off. But we're going to have a part two and a part three. What is the word to your wife, Mr. Tristan? The woman is driving you. Tell us about her. Tell us
Yes.
about her name. Give
Natanya
us a word.
Barracks. Natanya Barracks, I love you. I respect you. I honor the fact that you are literally my ride or die or ride or life, as Victory Speaks would want to say. And I just am so excited to be in relationship with you, to be growing with you, and I'm excited to see where the next 20 years is going to take us. Because I really do believe that there's greater purpose for our union, for not just raising our kids and building our family, but building a legacy that speaks to generations of storytellers, of community members, and of people that are passionate about leaving love and making the intentional commitment to fatherhood and parenting a reality. So, love you lots.
Yeah, I hope she's not crying too much driving. If you have to pull over, pull
No,
over.
she's not crying out. She's smiling. She's not even looking back. Face
Good,
it, she
good, good.
face it. Face it, she face it. She don't want to look back. It's all right. So, bye
Keep your
bye bye
eyes
bye. She went
on.
bye 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 bye.
Bye-bye. The Queen Bee is saying fire on the line. Okay, what's your message to the Queen Bee? Kamshuka, Sheldon Barracks.
Queen Bee, Cam Shuka. You know what, Cam, you're amazing. You already know that um, you're the only person that really truly knows me, the ins and outs of me. And uh, there's nobody on this earth that has really pushed me and inspired me and encouraged me like you have. And I'll be honest with you, I could do nothing without you. No book, no, my career development, me as a father. I could do nothing without your encouragement, without your inspiration. We've come so far today. This day, we walk every day in the mornings, and those walks are amazing. We could talk about the family and all that good stuff. So, just thank you for the woman you are, the strong woman. You didn't have a great starting as a child growing up, and you really had a rough beginnings. And to be honest, we always talk about how rough the beginning of your life was in comparison to mine. But you've come so far, and you're so resilient, and you've been an amazing mother, an amazing business owner. And to be honest, you're my best friend. Like that's it, man. Like you're my best friend. So honestly, I'm nothing without you, and I'm not just even saying that. Like you're my best friend. You're a true ride or die.
She crying. She is crying in the room,
She knows,
crying
man.
in
She
the
knows
room.
I love her to death, man. It's crazy.
Mom is bigging up the wives. Mom is bigging up the wives. And, if you've been enjoying this conversation, I encourage you to support Sheldon and Tristan. You have all Sheldon's stuff here. You can follow him on Facebook, on Instagram, you buy his book. And if you missed the free offer of the book, you got to go back to the replay because we're not repeating it now. You got to go back to the replay, man. You got to go back to the replay and start from the beginning. Hey, and then if you want to know a
Hey,
little bit
baby,
about,
baby.
come on now. The digital storyteller, the Tristan, the Barrocks, you know, the
Which
extraordinaire, the
just want to make a
photographer
quick
auntie.
plug.
Go ahead.
Just before before we end up, want to make a quick plug. I just launched a new podcast called Creative to Creative.
Yeah.
It's all about
Yes, today.
sharing and interviewing and having conversation. Yes, it happened 12 p.m. today. I have amazing guests on Creative to Creative. It's a podcast that's all about sharing how your creative journey
Sorry, I can't
is
stop
not one
clapping.
that's
I can't
linear.
stop clapping. I can't stop
Oh,
clapping.
sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
The creative journey is not a linear one. It's one with ebbs and flows, and it's one
Hmm.
where you have to learn from both your mistakes and your successes. So I have people on there. We're talking about real stuff. We're talking about budgeting. We're talking about how to land your first six-figure client. How to get through stressful times. How did you survive COVID? How did you hire your first employee? How did you 10x your company? All of these different things. So check it out. It's called the Creative to Creative podcast with Tristan Barrocks. Google my name, Google creative2creative.com, and you can get some information there on the website. There's tons of information, or hit me up, DM me, and I'll send you all that information as well. But I'm excited about that because it's really something that's been near and dear to my heart. I've been working on it for over a year now, and now I'm releasing some of these amazing conversations. We already have over 30 episodes recorded and locked and loaded, so
Wow.
I'm excited. Yeah.
See, this is why I have to come back to school. I have to come
Awesome.
back to the Barrack school to do now my audio podcast. I gotta come back to the Barrack school. And
Absolutely.
so my winding down question for you two is, what is, you're on the Victory Speak show, right? So what does victory look like to both of you? What is victory? Some people say success, I say victory. What is victory for you?
Mm.
You want to go first, Shell?
You go ahead.
Okay. I'm just thinking. I got like 9% battery life, so I'm
Yes.
trying to get this. I'm trying to get right under the wire.
I'm
I
taking you all
think
the
for
way to the
me,
edge.
yeah, I think for me, what victory is for me has been redefined. Oftentimes we have sort of an individualistic idea of what victory is, but for me, victory is being able to provide a supremely comfortable lifestyle for my family, to be able to build a community of creatives that feel inspired, that feel motivated to tell stories that matter. It's being able to manage my business but not be in my business. Victory looks like me being able to provide amazing storytelling services and experiences from anywhere in the world.
Mm,
Victory for me is never having to shovel snow again. Victory for me is being able
Truth
to
be
build
told.
generational income and funding for my family and for my children's children. So that's what victory looks like for me.
love it. And Sheldon?
Yeah, just Tristan brought up a few, especially that snow one. But yeah, you know what? I think victory for me really is living out your purpose, and in all the ways that Tristan kind of elaborated to, whether it's providing for your family or living out your purpose and being effective on this earth, with your talents and skill. I love to write, so I want to write as many books as I can, before I die, and just help people in different ways. So I think victory really is about living out your true purpose, whether it's through work, your family, your talents, your skills, every day, and loving yourself enough to not be worried about comparing yourself or worry about where you are in the success ladder. You're comfortable where you're at. You're okay with yourself. You're not dealing with FOMO, fear of missing out. You're like, I'm good where I'm at because I'm on track. I know which way I'm going. So really understanding and knowing yourself, knowing your journey, knowing your purpose, and being okay with it, being okay what level you're at. That to me is victory. because you can go to bed every night and be happy with yourself, wake up in the morning, still be happy and be like, I'm on my journey. This is part of it. Let's go. So that's victory. Really loving yourself, loving your purpose, understanding your purpose and why you're on this earth and what you can add to it.
I just did a podcast with the Barracks. I'm just calling it podcast with the Barracks. I'll interview with everybody. Podcast with the Barracks. We're gonna do it here live. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm taking Tristan's battery down to the last wire. Papa Bear is on the line saying, I am so proud of these young men. And I know Papa is also proud of all his children. Right now we got
Yeah.
some. So Papa Bear, we gotta get you on with all the kids, along with the Marjorie. She's like, I know she's like the love kind of thing happening down there. They all loving up each other. And so, thank you, Tristan. Thank you, Sheldon, for coming on. Tristan, you're so good that you are on your way to Ottawa to do what you do best and be with your family. And I love your kids have stayed, they have just been gems in the car as they've been doing the first drive-through podcast. Hi, the first,
17.
hi,
Zion.
hey, how you doing? This is so beautiful. And so hopefully we can get a picture. We got to send us pictures from Ottawa. And,
Yeah, definitely.
thank you for being so much a part of this conversation. And for those of you who missed any part of this conversation, you better go to, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Victory Speak 7.
Yes.
Subscribe to Tristan Barrocks, YouTube channel. Go to the website of, Mr. Sheldon Barrocks. Buy the book, share it, share it, share it. And, support, support, support. We've been talking about Black fathers. We're changing the narrative. We want you guys to know that Black fathers are real. They're making a difference. There is this stereotype that we've had. We are changing up the narrative. Thank you so much for letting your victory speak, Sheldon and Tristan, and for sharing your love and your family. Marjorie and Bobby, we're giving you much love. And we just want you to continue to shine and live your best life. And remember, love is in the details. Every day to remember to try and have an inspired conversation with someone you love or someone you meet. And sometimes it just starts with a smile. And take care. And Bobby and Marjorie, hats off to you. I know everybody who's loved the conversation. Sheldon and Tristan, love you guys to the moon and back. I don't love you to death. I love you to life. We're going to be living life and doing
Yeah.
some more shows together. And yeah, see you guys on the flip side. It's Canada Day tomorrow. We know we're going to be somber. Um, we have a lot of reflecting that we're going to do this Canada Day. And our hearts go out to our Indigenous brothers and sisters and our Indigenous fathers in particular right now and mothers, that are feeling. And we got more numbers out today and we know there'll be more to come. Hearts go out to the BIPOC community, and we must come together as a community, as families, and love on each other, and just be there for one another. We've gone through great challenges during this time, but we can get through it together. At the top of the show, you guys spoke of unity, so we'll be unified together. Thank you for watching the Victory Speak show. See you on the flip side, and be blessed.